Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. If you're new here, I'm Marilyn and my channel is Making with Marilyn. If you're not new, thanks for coming back. In today's video, I'm going to take this simple little canning jar, some Armour Etch cream, and I'm going to go ahead and etch the label into this jar of what I'm going to put in the jar. As a crafter, I'm always looking for ways I can customize items like this. If this is something you're interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get started. Here's what I'll be using in today's project. So I have my glass jar. This is what I'm going to etch, and I'm going to etch on the opposite side of where it says ball. Also, I've already cleaned this with rubbing alcohol and a rag. I'm going to cut my stencil today with the Cricut Joy. I don't get to use it very often, and I didn't feel like pulling out my big Cricut, so this is a perfect project to use the Cricut Joy. I have the cutting mat. I have a small piece of Oracal 631. That is a repositionable vinyl. I have my Armour Etch. I have my Cricut Joy, some scissors. I use a little popsicle stick to get the Armour Etch out. You can also use a brush. Now, I do highly recommend using safety goggles when you're doing this, or safety glasses. One of the first times I used this, I accidentally flicked some up onto my face, and it came really close to my eye. So I always use these when I'm doing Armour Etch. I have the weeding tool, I have some tape, I have my glove. I'm going to work on a couple pieces of copy paper or printer paper, and then I'll use my computer. Now when you open this Armour Etch, I would open it over a trash can because it tends to get dry around the edges of the lid, and if you do it over a trash can, those dry clumps fall into the trash can. That's just my advice. I'm in Cricut Design Space, and notice that I already have my Joy selected. I typed out my stencil. This is Hobo Standard Font in case you're interested. So I'm just going to say make. Now I want to move this down and over just a little bit because I want to have space to apply some tape to my stencil and tape it down to my jar. So I'll say continue. And then let me go ahead and browse materials. I just want vinyl. I'm going to use this premium vinyl, and I'll say done. Once the light on the top starts flashing, you're ready to go ahead and load your material. Now my computer has the green go button activated, so I click that on the computer and it'll take off. When the cut's complete, there's an unload button on your computer. I'll go ahead and click that, and it'll go ahead and it'll shoot this on out. Now stencils can be kind of tricky to weed because you're weeding the opposite of what you usually do when you cut something out. With a stencil, you're removing the letters instead of leaving them inside. All right, now I just need to have my transfer tape. I've used various types of transfer tape. I do really like this HTV Ront transfer tape. It comes in a narrower 6-inch wide, which when I was doing car decals, that was really a good size to use, but I ran out of it. So let me just cut this down. And I'm also going to cut this down. I do want to have enough of the black vinyl to attach some tape to protect my glass, but it's going to be hard to lay it down when I have that much because there is a curve to this jar. So I want this to be relatively close to the part that I'm going to use. All right, no need to have this lid on. And this stencil is a little bit big, but we're going to make it work. Hopefully. So I cut that too large. I'm wasting a little bit of this transfer tape. but it'll be fine. So with the transfer tape, you're going to remove the top layer, which is a clear layer. And then you want to lay it down. You want it to be nice and flat. You don't want wrinkles in it. You want it to be nice and smooth. Then I'll go ahead and peel up the vinyl, going slowly to make sure it all comes up. And then we're going to place that back down on this jar. I don't know if it's perfect, but we're going to call that good. All right, so let's go ahead and rub this down. Now, it's okay if you have some folds or some bubbles in your vinyl, as long as it's not where it's meeting the open letters. So I'm going to press this down. And this is just my chapstick or my lip balm that I'm using to try to really force this down onto the glass. Usually I'd use a squeegee or something, but it's not handy, so we're going to use this. Okay, so I'm going to have to help that black vinyl stay down. I'm going to hold onto it with my left thumb, and I'm going to roll this straight back. And I'm going to have an issue there. I'm going to have to fix that. Well, let's get this transfer tape off first. Okay, hold up the center of that R. There we go. Much better. Okay, so I need to take a little bit of time and inspect this because I see some issues here and here and here. Here, I see a lot of issues. Here, if it's buckled up against where your gaps are, you're going to have a problem. So, let me see if I can't lay this down just a little bit better. And sometimes you might have to cut little slits in your vinyl for it to lay down correctly. I don't know if I'll have to do that today or not. When you are doing something on a round surface, like totally round, like a Christmas ornament, it becomes very difficult. This isn't that bad. I think this looks pretty good. Really, the only part that makes me a little nervous is right here. But we're going to see what we get. Now, before I start putting the Armour Etch on there, though, I want to tape this off because it can drip down. And if it drips off of this, and this area isn't protected, you're going to have etching over here. I don't want that. So I want to really adhere that down, make sure it's not gapping at all between the black vinyl and my pink Scotch tape. All right, so now it's time to gather up all our protection. So I have my paper to protect my table. I have a glove to protect my hand, the hand that I'll be using with the Armour Etch. I'm definitely going to put these glasses on. And then I have my Armour Etch. Let me open this over the trash can again like I did before. Now, I did shake it up as well as I could. I've had this for several years. I would recommend do not get a huge jar like I did because it takes forever to use this up. I'd rather buy 2 small jars or just buy one at a time and know that it's a little bit fresher. Over time, because you can reuse this, so you can scrape off the excess before you rinse your jar off, and you can put it back in this container. When you do that, you tend to get some little crumbs in there because it starts to dry up while it's on the item that you're etching. So when this runs out, I will just be buying a small jar. So I put a generous amount on, and I like to tap it on instead of really shoving it on. I don't want to accidentally shove it under the stencil vinyl. Okay, so once I have it on, covering the whole thing, I like to go back and dab it some more in case there's any air pockets under there, bubbles. If I accidentally missed a little part, like I thought I had a little part down there I might have missed. So I'm going to tap it on again. And I had an area over here I missed, so just really inspect it. And I'm going to leave this on about 8 minutes. Now I have heard people on YouTube videos say they left it on like 45 minutes. When I first started using this, I tried using it on for a very long time to see if that did any better, and I really didn't have any difference in my outcome. So now I figure, why do that? I also wonder if you leave it on too long, could this Armour Etch start eating through your tape and cause some issues there? So I'm going to leave this on about 8 minutes. Now while it's on, I'm going to watch to see that it doesn't seep down over the tape, and I'll come back and I'll dab it a couple more times. But I will see you back here in 8 minutes. Okay, my timer went off. So what you can do is you can gently scrape. I'm not scraping hard because I don't want to accidentally shift my vinyl, but you can gently remove a lot of this cream and just put it right back here in the jar. Now, considering I've had this jar for multiple years and there's about half a jar left, I don't know that I need to do that, but that is what I do. All right, let's go ahead and put this lid on, set it aside. Now, if you have some of this Armour Etch on your glove, don't touch your glass. I don't think I do, but I'm going to use my left hand just in case. So I'm going to take this down to the bathroom, rinse it off, take the tape off, and I'll be right back. You rinse this off with just a lukewarm water. Now, I think it's going to have creeped up under this little hump at the top of that O. I don't know if you can see that, but there is a little gap there. Now, usually I would just take this off in the bathroom, but I wanted to come back and show you as I reveal how it turned out. And actually, I don't think that's too bad. It's going to be hard for you to see until this jar is dry, but I'll hold it up and see if you can see it. Let me turn that ring light off, see if you can see it just a little bit better. Okay, I think you can see that, and I think it turned out pretty good. I might see a tiny little imperfection up here. It is tiny. I think that looks great. I put this dark blue cardstock inside. Maybe you can see it better with it inside. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.